to it later if you need, and so others who may have missed out on today's events will be able to come and watch it. Thank you. So now, at this time, please mute your mics for the best sound experience. Otherwise, the feedback could interfere with information we will be sharing today. Without further ado, I'll pass it on to our presenters.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Friday Happy Math Hour. My name is Yvette Chuca, and here with us today is Mr. Ruben Carizales. He's a professor at the Rio Grande campus. And Mr. Albert Isasi will be joining us soon, and he is a professor at Trans Mountain campus. And then I am a professor here at the Valle Verde campus. And then we have our wonderful staff and tutors joining us as well. So we have Miss Truman, Miss Salazar, and Miss Patricia. And so we want to welcome you all today. We will be having Friday Happy Math Hour most of the Fridays. And so just look out for the sessions in the EPCC announcements, or your teachers might be sending it to you as well. Our staff is going to be contacting you individually to ask for your student IDs. The reason we're asking for those IDs is so that we can track your attendance in case your instructors are counting this as tutoring hours or extra credit. We notify your instructors that you attended. At any time, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And the first part of the session is going to be covering the WebAssign access codes and the WebAssign platform. And then we're going to be covering the MyMathLab platform as well. And then after that, we're going to cover a few math topics that should have been introduced or covered in your classes for this week. And so we're going to get started. So for those of you that aren't using WebAssign, we just ask that you're patient for a little bit. And then when we get to MyMathLab, then we ask the WebAssign folks to be a little patient. This shouldn't take too long to introduce the platforms, and then we'll get into the actual math. So if you're using WebAssign, you're going to be registered in the courses to the left. So you're either in 0114, 314, or 1314. If you're using MyMathLab, then you're registered for a 124, 324, or 1324. Okay, so for WebAssign, what you want to do is some of you are going to register by going to webassign.com. Others are going to be able to click a button in your Blackboard course. So it depends how your instructor has set it up. So if your instructor set it up through Blackboard, you're not going to need a class key. But if your instructor does not have it in Blackboard, then your instructor will provide a class key for you. So once you enter the information that your instructor has given you, then you can start the registration process. And in order to register, you can enter an access code that comes with a purchase with a new textbook at our bookstore. Or there's other options, right? You can get the whole textbook with the access code together from the bookstore, or you can pay for the access code online. If you pay for the access code online, it runs you about $105. If you pay for it at the bookstore, it's going to be a little bit more. And the other option you have is if you're taking other classes, I encourage you to check to see what books you're going to be using. For example, if you're taking a computer science course and it also uses a Cengage book, then you can click the option of 120, which would include your math book and your computer science book. So make sure you check your syllabus to see what option will work best for you. If you buy the access code by itself online, it will include an ebook. And in that ebook, you can print out pages if you want to actually have printouts. But it does have the book. It's just a PDF file though, and it has videos and stuff in there as well. So these are the options. Of course, it's 100. Now it's 105. Or you can do the 120, and it provides a little bit more things. This one is the Cengage Unlimited, is the one that will cover more textbooks if you're using them for your other classes, but they have to be a Cengage product. Okay, so once you have that, you do have, if you're not ready to enter an access code, you can still sign up, and you have about 7 to 14 days of free access. Okay, once you are in your course, then on the left side, to get to your actual course, you would press on courses. You can press here to rent an actual hardcover book, or you can review your purchases on what you're going to be paying for. Here you can change your password by clicking on your name. You can add another email. And again, these are the rental options there. If you click on this symbol here, it's going to give you kind of like a catalog of all the other books that they have. And then they also have the little graduation cap. It has college success tips. So if you're looking at, how can I do time management, financial literacy, you can look at this stuff as well. And then once you're in your class here, you have settings. Albert, Mr. Isasi, you have a question?
Yes, Yvette, at times, some students ask me if they purchase a code for, say, for pre-cal for 1314, will it also work for 2412 if they take the course the following semester?
It should, since it's a life of the edition. Unless I don't believe they have options for one semester. Whenever they're paying, if it gives them the option of paying just for that one semester, then it's only going to be good for that semester. So they want to pick the option that gives them basically it's the 105 option. I know that's the price for that.
Okay, but the one that gives them access to the next semester, is it the one for 119 or 124, something like that?
The 105 should also give them the access.
Okay,
There's another, and then I'm glad you brought that up. There's another option that will cost them about $60. But if you get that option, it's only going to be the book. So it's not going to include the homework part of it. So you want to stay away from the $60 one because it's not going to include the homework platform, just the textbook.
Okay. Thank you, Yvette. That was,
Uh-huh.
I mean, that was wonderful news, so thank you.
So if you click on this little globe looking thing, you can change the text of your website here. So if you click on it, it's going to change to Spanish text, for example. And so you can see here everything will be in Spanish if you prefer it to be in Spanish. This circle tells you how many days you have left for your free trial. And then if you click the little envelope, then this is for email notifications. I recommend these because sometimes as professors, we do change the due dates. We might make an announcement and we might reply to your email. So if you click on these notifications, anytime so that we change a due date, you'll get that through the email. If you want like a reminder, like 6 hours before your next assignment is due, so you can control the notifications by clicking this envelope here. Now for your ebooks, if you want to read the book, you want to see more examples, you would go to your ebooks and then you can click on your book here. It's going to open up a whole new book. And like I mentioned, it has different resources. So you can click on these links and it'll give you more examples, more video examples. To communicate with your instructor, some instructors have this turned off, some have them turned on. You can click here and send an email. And this is also where your instructor would respond. And as I mentioned, some might have it off because they want you to communicate through their EPCC email or through Blackboard. Here is for your grades. You can click on this and it's going to show you your grade. And then if you click on this grade here, it's going to break it down for you on how it comes up with the F. And then of course, to get to your assignments, you click here and it's going to list your assignments. And then I want to highlight a couple of things on the right side of your screen. You're going to see the My Class Insights. This is just, excuse me, this is just for extra practice. So if you click on this, it's going to ask you different questions to kind of highlight to see where you're struggling. And then they provide some tutorials. And then you're going to have announcements. If you're in my class, I put a lot of announcements up there. And basically my announcements are similar problems, step-by-step worked out problems. So your instructors might put announcements here. And then of course you'll have a calendar and then your textbook. Okay, on the left side of your screen, you should see your homeworks. And I'm going to highlight some of these symbols and what these symbols mean. Mr. Ortiz, you have a question?
Yes, what if a teacher doesn't even use this at all, but only uses Microsoft Teams?
So most of them should use it, especially if you have a lab. The only campus that I know does not use the WebAssign in the lab is Trans Mountain. And so if they don't use it, it's okay. But if you have bought the book and it has an access code, then what you could do is maybe ask the instructor to see if they can create a course where they can just put you in there so that you can access the resources. Okay, so on the left side, you're gonna have your homeworks, your grades, but there's a tab down here that says resources. If you click on that tab, you're gonna see any resources that your instructor has put for you, but then also you have the book resources. So you'll have videos here. If you don't see this resources, then that means that your instructor has them off. You can email them, ask them to turn them on, and these are just extra videos that you can look at to get different practice examples. And then there's also a personal study plan that you can take quizzes and practice quizzes, and it provides a tutorial. So these are just for your own practice. Okay, in your homeworks, if you see this symbol, that means that there's a password, so you cannot access your quiz here unless you have a password. So your instructor has locked it for a reason. They will provide the password for you. Then you have a little time clock here. That's how many minutes you have for the assignment. And if you see this little lock, it means that you have a lockdown browser. There's a lot of issues with the lockdown browser sometimes. So I encourage you before your assignment is going to be due to try to download the lockdown browser so that it's ready to go. That way you don't waste too much time the day of the quiz or the test.
I'm sorry, I have a question. For when
Yes,
we
ma'am.
use the lockdown browse, are we gonna need a camera, a webcam?
No, the lockdown browser for here, you won't need one.
Oh,
This is just to keep you from going to other websites.
okay. Thank you.
Now, in your other classes, you might have a lockdown browser in Blackboard, and that one does require a camera. So, but for WebAssign, you don't require the camera. Okay. Once you start doing your
I'm
homework,
sorry.
you're gonna, yes, go ahead.
Do we need to download that or it just appears like in the web assign? Or we
If you
have to
click
put
on,
something?
yeah, if you click on the assignment and it has the lockdown browser, it's gonna pop up a message saying that you need the lockdown browser, and
Oh,
then it lets you click there, and then you can download it.
okay, okay.
hmm So in your actual assignment, you have some tools. You'll have these yellow buttons. If you click on these, read it, just takes you to the ebook. Watch it as a video. You can ask your instructor questions by clicking the Ask Your Instructor, or you can practice another version. Sometimes instructors have the request extension open. If you miss the deadline, and this is here, you can click on it, and it's going to ask for, you can ask your instructor for an extension. It doesn't mean they're going to give it to you, but it's there in case you want to ask and see if they allow you to do that. Okay, so that was a quick WebAssign review. Now, for those of you taking 324 or 1324, you're going to be in my math lab, and essentially it does provide the same opportunities. You would click on student, and then you need these three things to register, right? You need a course ID, your email address, and an access code. And so you would enter your course ID here, and the course ID is usually your instructor's last name followed by some numbers, okay? Once you enter that, then you can sign in. If you have an account already, you just sign in. If you don't have one, you create it, and then it's going to tell you what class you're registering for. So in this example, Mr. Carizales is the instructor. Okay, so these are your options. Now in my math lab, it is a little bit different. So you need to read which option you want. So for example, this access code is only good for 18 weeks. This one is good for 2 years. So if you know that you're going to take Math 1325, then you would be better off with this access code. If 1324 is the only class you need and you don't need the second part, then maybe this would be a better option. Okay. If you can't pay for the access code at that moment, you can click on the temporary access code and it'll let you go into the system. And then it's going to tell you that you're done. And then you can click on go to my courses and it's going to take you to the course. So here, let me go to the next one here. Oh, I let me put here. So for those of you taking 0324 and 1324, you do this process for one textbook. But then if you want to put your second class for 1324, you're going to click on enroll in another course. And then you just enter the same login and username and password, and it'll automatically know that you already paid for the book. So you can have both courses in here at the same time. In your announcements, if you in your
Sorry,
calendar, yes, go ahead.
would that work if we different professors but we have both courses, or do we have to pay for both of them separately since they're different instructors?
It would work for different instructors as well. And the reason is because the system recognizes that you bought the book or that you bought the access code. So it's going to work for your two instructors. As long as you use the same username and password. If you use a different username and password, then it's going to think that you're another person. But if it's the exact same thing, it will recognize you and you won't have to pay for it again.
Okay, thank you.
hmm So in your calendar, you can see these symbols. That just means that you have homework due on this day, you have a quiz on this day, maybe your instructor put an announcement. I really recommend the multimedia library. If you click on this button, you can find videos and PowerPoints for any of the sections. So you would just put your chapter and section, and it's going to bring out those videos and PowerPoints. The study plan is just extra practice. So you can practice and you can quiz yourself. Again, that's optional for you. And then the accessible resources, if you need accessibility information, you can click on these buttons here. Here you have the video transcripts, and then you have an alternative version of the ebook if you need that. And then Skills for Success provides you other type of skills. So maybe you need to, you want to watch mindset videos or college success videos. They even have some professional tools which might give you examples of resumes, for example. So those are all extra things that come with your course. And here, like some of the videos, stress management, time management, financial literacy, kind of the same of what WebAssign has as well. Now, once you're in your course, you can see some of the other resources here under Tools for Success. If you have a graphing calculator, for example, you can see a video on how to use that calculator. It also has just a bunch of other little things that could be helpful for you. Now, in your actual assignment, when you're in a homework, there's some things here that you can look at. This little gear button, it has the accessibility so that you can control the screen right. The question help, you have a help me solve this, view an example, ask my instructor. These tools here will be available if your instructor has allowed them to be there. So like in my classes for exams or like quizzes, I'll take out some of these help buttons. Okay, so it just depends on what's available from your instructor. And then of course you have your this number right here, ARF 170, that tells you the location of the problem in your textbook. Okay, if you use the help me solve this, it's gonna count it wrong and it's gonna walk you step by step on how to do the problem. But then once you're done, it's going to give you a different problem. And if you get it correct, then it's going to count it correct. There's some videos, just like my WebAssign. These have videos. However, in the video, you can do the caption in Spanish. So you can have it off. You can have it in English or in Spanish. In your ebook, the ebook has changed a little bit. So some of your ebooks, you might not see these videos in here anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with that because they did change it a little bit. And so that was just a quick review of your two platforms that you're going to be using. Now, Mr. Ruben Carizales is going to go over graphing, which is a topic that maybe you saw the first day of class or your second day of class. And then Mr. Isasi will cover writing equations.
Thank you, Ms. Chuka. Appreciate that. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to be looking at graphing equations, and we're going to look at two methods, point plotting method and using our intercepts. So let's look at the first one. So when we're using the point plotting method, basically it's what you've done when you were in high school. You do a table to create your ordered pairs, so we are able to graph it. So let's look at this example. Let's look at the equation y equals negative 2x plus 5. So what you'll see on your homework assignments, again, if you were doing this on your own, we would pick values for x, get the values for y from the equation, and then get our ordered pair. So these are called ordered pairs because we always put the x value first and then the y value second. So just as an example, we will pick by random values for x. We're going to pick negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. In order for us to get our y value, we are just going to replace these x values into our equation. So let's go ahead and do this. So everywhere I see x, I'm going to plug in this negative 2. So we have y equals negative 2 times negative 2 plus 5. A negative with a negative is going to give me a positive, and 2 times 2 is 4 plus 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. So the y value is equal to 9. So our ordered pair is the x value is negative 2 and our y value is 9. So we're going to do that for all of these. Let's go ahead and do the negative 1. We'll do the same process, replace the x with a negative 1 and evaluate the equation, right? Or simplify. So we have a negative with a negative is a positive. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 5 is equal to 7. So our ordered pair is when x is equal to negative 1, y is equal to 7. Let's go ahead and do our 0. Replace our x for 0. So when we multiply negative 2 times 0, that's going to give us 0. 0 plus 5 will be 5, so y is equal to 5. So our ordered pair is 0, 5. Let's go ahead and do 1. Negative with a positive is a negative, so negative 2 times a positive 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 5 will give us a positive 3. So y equals to 3. So my ordered pair when, oh, there's a typo here. There should be 1 here. Okay, so when x is equal to 1, y is equal to 3. Okay, and then our last one, when x is equal to 2, we're going to have negative 2 times 2, excuse me 1 second. Sorry, I had to plug in my laptop. So when x is equal to 2, a negative 2 with a positive 2 is going to give me a negative 4. Negative 4 plus 5 is going to be 1. So y equals to 1. So thank you, Yvette. When x is equal to 2, y is equal to 1. So now we have these points that we can plot. on our graph. So we'll start with the first one. Again, we're going to plot these in what's called a rectangular coordinate system. It's made out of two number lines. The horizontal line is called the x-axis. The vertical line is called our y-axis. So here on this first one, we have a -2, so we're going to move 2 units to the left. Values to the left of 0 are negative. Values to the right of 0 are positive. Also, values above the horizontal line are positive, and values to the bottom of the horizontal line are negative. So in this case, again, I have a -2 for x, so I'm going to move 2 units to the right. I have a +9 for y, so I'm going to move 9 units up. So the graph of this ordered pair is just a dot, it's just a point, okay? So let's go ahead and go through the rest. If I plot all of these, again, -1, 7, 1 unit to the right, 7 units up. 0, 5 means that I don't move left or right. I stay at 0, but I do move 5 units up. Then I have 1, 3, 1 unit to the right, 3 units up, and then 2, 1. 2 units to the right, 1 unit up. So when you are graphing on WebAssign, okay, you really just need 2 points to do the graph, but again, we're practicing plotting. So when you're sketching this line, you're gonna select the line feature from WebAssign or from MyMathLab, and you're gonna just pick 2 points that you just plotted, okay? And the system will do the rest. Now, one of the things we like to point out, the system it just writes the line, but this line does go forever up and forever down, okay? And we like to put the arrows here. Your computer system you might not see the arrows, but that's what this line represents, that this line goes forever, again, to the left and right. All right, so let's, sorry, Eliza, did you have a question, Ashley?
Yes. What happens when like they ask us for like a fraction value in x?
Excellent. That's a great question. I get that a lot. The system will allow you to once when you're plotting, it'll give you a little drop-down menu to put the point that you want, and it's going to give you a box for the x and y value. So if you ever have a fraction, then you can go ahead and click on that box for, let's say, the y. Let's say the fraction was 2/5. You're able to put 2/5 as a fraction, 2/5, or you can also put it as a decimal, but the system will let you put it in as a fraction, okay? All right. So let's go ahead and look at another example. Let's look at this equation, y equals 5 minus x squared. Again, let's go ahead and practice plotting points. So we're going to do a table again. So for my example, again, we just picked random values for the x. We have -2, 1, 0, 1, 2, the same values that we had before. But now we're going to plug them in to this equation. So let's go ahead and do it. Everywhere I see x, I'm going to plug in the -2. So we have a -2 squared. So what this means is a -2 squared means that I have two negatives too. So a negative with a negative is a positive. 2 times 2 will be 4. So we have 5 minus 4 equals 1. So my y value is equal to 1. So my ordered pair is going to be the -2 for the x and 1 for the y. So let's go ahead and do that again for their -1. Replace our x with the -1. A -1 squared is going to be a +1. And then 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. So again, when x is equal to -1, y is equal to 4. Let's go ahead and plug in the 0. Everywhere I see 0, I'm going to plug it into the x. So we have 0 squared is 0. 5 minus 0 is 5. So my ordered pair is 0, 5. Let's do the 1. 1 squared is 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. So y is equal to 4. Let's do 2. 2 squared is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. So y is equal to 1. So as you can see, I have my points here, -2, 1, -1, 4, 0, 5, 1, 4, and 2, 1. So I'm going to go ahead and plot those on my rectangular coordinate system. Again, the system's not going to label the X and the Y, but this is the horizontal axis or line, number line is our X axis, and our vertical line is our Y axis. So we are going to plot these points, -2, 1, -1, 4, 0, 5, 1, 4, 2, 1. Now, the beauty of our platforms is that you can select the graph that's going to follow these dots. Okay, so this is going to, when we do a smooth circle, if we were, excuse me, a smooth line, if we're doing this by hand, we just connect the dots. Again, and these arrows here means that our graph is going forever down and on both sides. Okay, all right. So let's look at the X and Y intercept method. And what this means, intercept means is where the graph is crossing either the X axis or the Y axis. So as an example, this is not the solution for this equation, okay? So just be mindful. This is just to show you how we're interpreting or calculating our x-intercepts. So if we wanted to find or use the x-intercept method to do the graph, we would set x equal to 0 to find our y-intercept. And if we wanted to find out where the graph crosses the x-axis, we would set y equal to 0 and solve for x. Okay, so again, this is just an example, it's not the solution for this equation. So let's go ahead and do the solution for this equation. Again, to solve for the intercepts, you set y equals to 0 to find the x and x equal to 0 to find the y. So let's go ahead and do it for this equation. Let's first find our y-intercept. So I'm going to let x equal 0. So everywhere I see, oops, I have them backwards here. So if I wanted to find, I'm solving first for the x-intercept, I'm going to let y equal to 0. So y equals to 0 equals to -2x plus 5. So I'm going to solve for x. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 5 on both sides. And this is going to give me -5 is equal to -2x. Now I'm going to divide by -2 on both sides. And this is going to give me 5/2 equals to 0. So actually, this is a great example of what you were telling me before. We're going to have fractions as our order pairs, and then I'll show you how we can graph those in a minute. Okay, so that is my x-intercept. Now let me find my y-intercept. So to find the y-intercept, I'm going to set x equal to 0 and solve for y. So everywhere I see x, I'm going to plug in the 0. So we have y equals -2 times 0 plus 5. -2 times 0, that's 0, and 0 plus 5 is 5. So my ordered pair for the y-intercept is 0, 5. So let's go ahead and plot those. So when we plot them, okay, as you can see here on the system, and again, this is just a PowerPoint or PDF file, but when I click these, what you can do if you're using WebAssign as an example, you can click the 0, 5, which is easy to click, and then you can click like 2, 0, and then what you can do is you can modify it. Once it's going to give you the points for the 0.1 and 0.2. So you would click on the 0.2 and you would modify it. And so you can put it as a fraction or you can put it as a decimal. You would put in for the x value, you would say, I wanted 2.5. And then the graph would adjust itself. Then the last thing you do is just you select the line feature to connect these two dots. And it's going to draw your line. So this is the method for using the x and y intercepts, and it's very useful to understand this. This will come in handy, as you can see, to graph any graph, especially for your WebAssign. You're only going to need 2 points. Okay, so and the most ideal points always are your x and y intercepts. Okay, so what we'll do now is I'll let Mr. Isazi take over and show you how to write equations of a line on your platforms. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, Ruben. Yes, hello everyone. I'm going to do part 3, which is writing equations of a line. There's three names for lines. For example, the ax plus by equals c is called the general form. the y minus y sub 1 equals to m, parentheses, x minus x sub 1 plus parentheses is equal to the point slope form. Y equals to mx plus b is called the y-intercept form. Most of the times, if they're not specific, when they're asking, for example, they might ask you, what's the equation of the line? If they're not specific, they want it in slope, in the y-intercept form, which is y equals to mx plus b. Okay, it's crucial for you guys to know that the slope is your m, and the y-intercept is b, and you write it as 0b, because when to find the y-intercept, when x is 0, whatever the b is, that'll be your y-intercept. So this is crucial to know. Okay, for example, they're saying write equations of a line. Write the equation of a line with a slope 4 and the y-intercept 5. If you notice, they give us the slope. My m is 4 and my b is equal to 5 because my y-intercept is going to be my b, which is equal to 5. So all we do is plug in the values. My m is 4 and my b is 5. So my equation will be y equals to 4x plus 5. Okay, now here they give you another example. They say write the equation of the line with slope equals to -2 and passes through the point 0, -4. Okay, now we have to ask ourselves, do we know the slope? Right? So yes, because they give you the slope. The slope is -2. Do we know the y-intercept? Remember do we know the intercept, which is the y-intercept? The y-intercept is going to be 0, -4. Because remember on the previous slide, the one that I showed you that it was crucial, where you have y equals to mx plus b, that the b is equal to, the b is the y-intercept, and you write it as 0b. So this is my b, which is my y-intercept. Okay, let me go to the next slide. You see my slope is -2, and my y-intercept is 0, -4. So now we can actually plug in the values into the equation. My slope is -2, so I'm going to plug in -2 for the m, and my b is -4, so I'm going to plug in -4 for the b. So that's my equation that we're looking for. Okay, now on this one, they're saying that write the equation of the line that passes through the points. Okay, now here is the slope given. Are we given the slope in y-intercepts? No, we're not. But we're given enough information to find them. But here we have to use another formula, which is called the slope formula. Okay. So my slope formula is equal to m equals to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So since this is my first point, the 1, -3, I'm going to call this x1 and y1. And since my second point, since that's my second point, I'm going to call this x sub 2 and y sub 2. So all we do is plug in the values. For example, my y sub 2 is 4. That's why the 4 is here. Minus my y sub 1 is -3. That's why we're going to plug it in there. And my x2 is 0, and my x1 is 1. So 4 minus -3 will give us 7, and 0 minus 1 will give us -1, which gives us the slope is equal to -7. Now, what's a y-intercept? Again, if you recall, when I started my presentation, part 3, remember that I said that when the x is 0, right? When the x is 0, this is my y-intercept. So here we do have enough information to find the y-intercept without even working for it. It's already given here. So the y-intercept will be 0, 4, which means that my b is equal to 4. So my slope, my m is -7, and my b is 4. So all we do is plug him in, and we got our equation. Yes, Ayala, or Ayla. Can I help you, Ayla? Any questions up to this point? Let me check the chat. Okay, so let's continue. Here, we're given another 2 points. It says write the equation of the line that passes through the points. We got 2, 0 and -1, 4. So here we're going to follow the same process as the previous example. Since this is the first point, we're going to call it x1 and y1 and x2 and y2, and then we're going to plug them into the formula for the slope, again, which is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So let's plug in the values. Again, my y sub 2 is 4, and my y sub 1 is 0. I believe there's some mistake here. Let's see. My y sub 2 is 4. Yes, I believe I did a mistake here. I mean, when I wrote it, because this is y sub 2 and y sub 1, so it should be 4 minus 0 and -1 minus 2. Okay, let me see if I can. How can I fix this? Let's see. Ruben, Yvette, could you guys help me out here? How can I go to the so I can write in here, so I can fix this one?
Yes, sir. Right at the pencil at the top, right above the PowerPoint, there's a pin, and you can click on it, and you can write right on it.
Okay. So again, it's going to be 4 minus 0, which is there, and it's going to be -1 minus 2. So there's supposed to be a 2 here. So it's going to give us, let me see, it's going to give us 4, positive 4, over -1 minus 2 will give us a -3. Let me write it good here. So my slope is equal to -4 over 3. Hey guys, sorry about the writing, because this I don't need to use this tool here, but anyway, we got -4 over 3. So let me see how we can fix this. So now we have, let me write it again here. So my slope is -4 over 3. Another mistake that students make is that they think, because we have a 0 here, that this is my y-intercept, which is not correct, because it has to be 0, and whatever the number is for the y, that's going to be y-intercept. So here my slope will be -4 over 3. Oh, here we go. Wouldn't it be 4 minus 0? Let's see, this should be a 0 here. Yes. So it's going to be -4/3. Again, -4/3. Okay, now, so the 2, 0 is not my y-intercept. Okay, so let me go to the next slide. So now we know that my slope is -4/3. Let's put -4/3 here. That's my slope. So then we can use either one of these formula to find the equation, and also, as we go along, find the y-intercept. Okay, in this case, right, we're going to use this point first. So let's plug him in. So this will be y minus 0, but remember that my slope was -4/3, so this should be, let me write it here. It should be y minus 0, right? So y minus 0 will give us 0, so then this will give us equals to -4/3 over 3, I believe. Yeah. And then we have x minus 2. So now we're going to distribute. If we distribute, it's going to give us -4/3 x plus 8 over 3. So let me go to the next slide. So this will give us y equals, let me write it again. Y equals to -4/3 x plus 8 over 3. I believe this would be your equation. Okay, this is the correct equation right here. Okay, that's the correct equation. Okay, now let's see if we use the other point. See what happens. Remember, we should get the same thing. Negative 4/3 x plus 8/3. Now here, instead of using the 2, 0, we're going to use I believe the negative 1, 4. Let me see, negative 1 and 4. Let me see here. No, we're going to use this formula here. Let me go back. Hold on here. Okay, that was my answer for that one. If you want, we can use this formula and see if we get the same thing. Okay, so remember, we're going to use the same point. So we're going to have y. Let me write it here. Y, which is 0.
You want me to write it for you?
Yes, Yvette, please.
Okay, let me just get my pencil.
Thank you, Yvette.
You're using the point slope with the second point. Is that what you wanted to do?
No, Yvette, we're using this one. Oh, yeah, the point. No, we're using this one here. The
Okay,
slope intercept
all right.
formula.
All right, so we're gonna have, hold on, let me start over. Did you want to use the 0.20 or the .-14?
No, Yvette, let's use the same point, 2, 0, because I
Okay.
believe the answer was y equals to negative 4/3 x plus 8/3.
Sounds good.
Okay,
So your slope was negative
4/3.
4/3
Yes.
times x plus b. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So then here, guys, so then here we're going to multiply, right? We're going to multiply negative 4 times 2 will give us negative 8. So it's going to give us 0 equals to negative 8/3. Okay, that's an 8, negative 8/3 plus b. So here, guys, we're going to add 8/3 to 8/3 to both sides. So it's going to give us 8/3. It's going to give us 8/3 is equal to my b. You see, guys, we get the same thing. So my equation will be, let me correct this again. It's going to give us the same thing as before. It's going to give us y equals to negative 4/3. Negative 4/3. That's supposed to be a 3. Negative 4/3 x plus 8/3. So it doesn't matter what equation we use. 8/3. Sorry about this, guys. Let's see here. 8/3. I got it. So you see, guys, it's going to give us the same equation. It doesn't matter if we use the slope intercept form or the point slope form. It doesn't matter. You should get the same answer, or you will get the same answer. Okay, now let's continue here. Okay, now this is another example. It's saying write the equation of the line with slope 5 that is parallel to the line y equals to negative 2x plus 4. Okay. Okay, now let's see here. So let me go back here. What happened here on this one here? You know, the slope 5 is parallel. Let me see.
Yeah, that's the old one. Yeah.
Okay, that's another one, right? Yeah, here we go. Okay, now on this one it says write the equation of the line with a slope 5 that is parallel to the line y equals to negative 2x plus 4.
I think just go to the next one, Mr. Isasi, because
Okay.
there was a messed up there.
Okay. Thank you, Yvette. Okay, on this one, write the equation of the line that is parallel to the line y equals to negative 2x plus 4 and passes through the point negative 3, 4. So for here, guys, you have to know that parallel lines have the same slope. So here with this graph, they're trying to show you a picture so you guys can picture what they're asking for. You see, this is my line, y equals to negative 2x plus 4. And how do we know that? Because we know that this is my b, this is my y-intercept. So we're going to start here at 0, negative 4. Then negative 2 means you're going to go down 2, 1, 2, and 1 across. And then you do your line. That's why we know this is the line for y equals to negative 2x plus 4. Now they want a line that's parallel passing through this point here, which is negative 3, 4. If you notice, guys, this is a line that we're looking for. So how are we going to find it? You see, guys, if the lines are parallel, right? So we know that the slope has to be negative 2. And now my slope is negative 2, and we got the point. So now we can plug in the values and find our equation. Okay, so in this case, right now we got the point negative 3, 4, and the slope is negative 2. So again, we can use either of the two equations here, the point slope or the slope intercept form. So in this case, we decided to use the point slope formula. So I know that the point that gives us, this is my x sub 1 and y sub 1. So my y sub 1 is 4, my slope is negative 2, and my x sub 1 is negative 3. So this becomes, right, so we just bring it down because we have to do minus times a negative 3 will give us a positive, right? So two negatives will give us a positive. And then all we do is distribute, right? So we're going to do a negative 2 times x and negative 2 times 3, which will give us negative 2x minus 6. Remember, we wanted in y equals to mx plus b, so we're going to add 4 to both sides. So negative 6 plus 4 will give us negative 2. So my equation will be y equals to negative 2x minus 2. Okay, now, and then to draw it, right? So this is, okay, now they're looking for 1. Okay, negative 3, 4. So that was the same one as before. So now I believe here they want us to do a perpendicular one. Okay. And this is supposed to be, I believe, perpendicular here, guys. Right, if we have the line that is perpendicular to the line, y equals to negative 2x plus 4 and passes through the same point. Okay, now we know that if the slope is negative 2, right? I mean, from the one before, a slope that's perpendicular is going to be the opposite reciprocal, which means the opposite of negative will give us a positive. That's why it's going to be positive. And the reciprocal of 2, which is 2 over 1, all you do is flip them, so it's going to be 1 over 2. So now we're looking for this equation that's perpendicular to the same equation as before, y equals to negative 2x plus 4. But now my slope is negative 1/2. Positive 1/2. Because positive 1/2 slope and the slope negative 2, they're both perpendicular. So this is what we're looking for now. Y equals to mx plus b with a given point as before, negative 3, 4. But now the slope is positive 1/2. Okay, and again, this is for my solution. So the line that we're looking for has a slope of 1/2 and passes through the point negative 3, 4. So we can use either or of these two equations. And again, we use the point slope formula. So again, the 4 is y sub 1, my negative 3 is x sub 1, and my 1/2 is my slope. So again here, negative and a negative will give us a positive. You see, it's right there. Now we're going to distribute the 1/2. So 1/2 times x and 1/2 times 3. So it's going to give us 1/2 x plus 3 over 2. Now my next step is that we have to add 4 to both sides because we want to isolate the y. We want to put it in slope intercept form, which is y equals to mx plus b. Okay. So we add 4 to both sides. So 3/2 plus 4. To add 3/2 plus 4, we have to get the same LCD. So the 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1, right? So my LCD will be 2. So I multiply the 4 times 2 and the 1 times 2, which give us 8 over 2. 8 over 2 is equivalent to 4. So now we can add the 3/2 plus the 8/2. So it's going to give us 11 over 2. So my equation is y equals to 1/2 x plus 11 over 2. Hey students, a lot of students have problems with fractions. So if you have problems with fractions, get some tutoring, because in tutoring they'll help you with the fractions, and fractions is something that you guys should know by now. But if you go for tutoring, they're going to help you how to master, fractions, operation on fractions. And I believe that's our PowerPoint. You guys have any questions?
Just really quick, if you would like to download the PowerPoint, at the top right of the screen, let me just show you. Let me see if it's gonna let me. Let's see. Hold on. At the top right of your screen, right here, when I put the PowerPoint back up, you're gonna see a little box with an arrow on it. You can click on that, and it's gonna let you download the PowerPoint to your desktop. So let me just put the PowerPoint again. So at the top, if you follow the R from the hour and go straight up, you should see a little box with an arrow pointing down. You can click on that. It'll allow you to download the PowerPoint. If you have any questions, you can definitely stay here and ask us. There will be some tutors available. And thank you, Mr. Isasi and Mr. Carizales, for joining us today as well. And I will pass it over back to our staff.
Thank you, everyone. If you haven't responded in the chat with your, we've sent out private messages. So if you could please give us your student ID number, we greatly appreciate it. We'd like to thank everyone for coming today. And we would like to invite you to our session on September 9th. That'll be our next Happy Math Hour. I apologize. My computer is going so slow today. And so, let's see if we can get it loaded. Share.
Are you guys every Friday?
We're most Fridays, not every Fridays, but we'll put it in the announcements, the community announcement. It'll come out on MyPCC, as well as we're working on getting it put on the event calendar. So this particular coming Friday, we're not going to be presenting, but we are going to have it on the 9th. And on the 9th, we're going to be covering factoring. We're going to be going over different factoring methods here in the same room at 11 a.m. And then, of course, later on today, we're going to be having a different type of Tana virtual event, which is, let me switch our slide here. It'll be a student success tour, and then it will be providing you information about the bookstore, ID cards, and police parking stickers. And that will be in this room at 1 p.m. today. I would like to thank you all for coming today, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend.